Number 2. Competition seems to interfere with achievement primarily because it is stressful. The anxiety that arises from the possibility of losing interferes with performance. Even if this anxiety can be suppressed, it is difficult to do two things at the same time, trying to do well and trying to beat others. Competition can easily distract attention from the task at hand. Consider a teacher asking her pupils a question. A little boy waves his arm wildly to attract her attention, crying, "Please! Please! Pick me!" Finally recognized, he has forgotten the answer. So he scratches his head, asking, "What was the question again?" The problem is that he has focused on beating his classmates, not on the subject matter. Page 15. Number 4. Economic growth is almost universally considered a worthwhile goal. Ecological conservation and cultural preservation are also accepted as important. These three large-scale systems are not independent, so one cannot focus on one goal while ignoring the other two. The ever-expanding web of globalization and industrialization, partly caused by the expanding human population, further links these three systems. In 1987, the term Sustainable Development was brought into common use by the World Commission on Environment and Development. 1987 World Commission on Environment and Development. The Commission's report, Our Common Future, defined the term as a form of development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Both developed and developing countries have embraced the concept of sustainable development, but often in different ways. The shared goal, however, is to maintain and improve the long-term welfare of both humans and ecosystems. Page 16. Number 5. To the human brain, playing a game is more like actually running a race than watching a film or reading a short story about a race. When I run, I make a series of choices about actions I will take that might affect whether I win. I feel a sense of mastery or failure depending on whether I successfully execute the actions in the ways I intended. My emotions ebb and flow as I make these choices and see what happens as a result. I feel a sense of consequence and responsibility for my choices. In the end, I am to blame for the outcomes, because they arise from my own actions. This rich set of feelings that I have about the solo experience of running depends on the active role that I play in the experience. Page 16. Number 6. Can you tell how a toy is made? While there is certainly room and a need for some manufactured plastic in our lives, we also need to make much more room for simple, natural materials. Does your children's toy selection show an adequate representation of nature? Is there wood? Cloth? Natural fibers? Not only do these toys feel good to play with and connect children to the outside world, but they are also often strong enough to last a lifetime and even more. I think we should consider our toy materials in the same way that people talk about whole foods: the closer to the original source, the better. Can you picture your toy growing somewhere on the earth? Wooden blocks, felt balls, and cotton dolls are often some of the best toys. Page 17. Number 7. Suppose a child is hungry and eats a good carb snack, such as an apple. The first stop for the good carb is the taste buds. Because the good carb is partnered with friends, the sweetness is not as intense or artificial tasting, so the child's developing taste buds get used to the natural sweetness of fruit or a bit of honey mixed with plain yogurt. Even the sweet taste of sugar, such as a teaspoon of sugar or honey added to a cup of oatmeal, is blunted a bit by its three friends: fiber, fat, and protein. With a bad carb, such as a corn syrup sweetened beverage, the child's taste buds for sweetness are overwhelmed. If a child habitually drinks this bad carb, this is what he will associate with the normal taste and level of sweetness. Children whose tastes were shaped toward the sweetness that's found in nature, on the other hand, often find artificial sweeteners distasteful. Page 17. Number 8. Whereas addressing conflicts openly, directly, and freely in an individualistic culture is the norm, in a collective culture, conflict can be a terrifying experience for those involved. Individuals in a collective culture view conflict as a threat to the group harmony. Since they are part of the group, this makes it a threat to their own harmony and, worse still, if they are the cause of the conflict, they feel responsible for one of the most negative outcomes in a collective working culture. As a result, collective cultures are, by nature, conflict avoidant. Although this has its advantages in protecting group harmony, it has its disadvantages in making it difficult, particularly for an outsider, to know if they have group consensus or not. Most members of highly collective cultures would rather agree to something they do not believe in than risk creating a conflict. The end. Good job.